Good morning, sixth grade. Mrs. Rao and Luna coming to you again from Mrs. Rao's guest room. This is going to be the time of the day when we get to read and learn about the Westing game. I know you don't have your book with you, so anytime we read this book, I'll take pictures of the pages so that you can read along with me. I also know that you don't have your reader's notebook with you, so we will be writing things that we need to write in your homework notebook. Okay, your homework's going to go in the front of the book, and then your reading notes from the Westing game you can put on the back few pages. So I'm giving you permission to be a journal bandit and skip the middle pages so you can keep your work separate from the front of the notebook to the back. Now today, we have one more day to get our brain soil ready to absorb the Westing game and to be able to understand it more fully. I'm going to teach you that good readers continue to gather important information about a topic before reading in order to build their background knowledge. Today, we're going to be reading this article, How the American Dream Works by Patrick J. Kinger, I think is how you say that. Now, I want you to watch me as I model how I think about this article, and then the rest of them you're going to get to do in your notebook by yourself, and then I'll check your notebooks when you get back to school. So make sure you're writing this down. This will be something I check to see if you have done when you get back to school. Now, if you have questions or if you need help, I will be checking to see if people are joining that Zoom link meeting. So just click it and I can help you work on this. Okay? Okay. So I would like you to open up your homework notebook, pause the video if you don't have it, and go and get it. And in your homework notebook, I would like you to write The American Dream at the top. And after you've written the American Dream, pause this if you need more time. You're going to draw a line. Mine is in pink. Okay, your line should be a little straighter, hopefully. And then another line. This is called a T chart because it looks like a giant T. And then on this side of the T chart, I would like you to write who. And on this side of the T chart, I would like you to write what. Again, pause the video if you need more time. Now would be a good place to pause it because I'm going to clear them. This is what we'll be using to record our notes today. Okay, so with that, we are going to start reading our article about the American Dream. We've talked about the American Dream a little bit. Today, we're going to spend some more time figuring out what it is. And we're going to start where it says the origins of the American Dream, right here. Okay, the first word is historian. Please read the words as I read them. It's really good for your reading brain to hear the words and see the words at the same time. Historian James Truslow Adams often receives credit for first popularizing the idea of the American dream. Remember, we talked about this in class. In his 1931 book, The Epic of America, Adams describes the dream of land in which life should be better and richer and fuller for everyone, with opportunity for each according to ability or achievement. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. When the article said that James Truslow Adams described a dream of better, richer, fuller life for everyone, I'm thinking that's important because it tells me that his idea of the American dream is that everyone has an opportunity for a better, fuller, and richer life. So we're going to go ahead and add his words to our chart. So go back to your reader's notebook. And on this side of your T chart, go ahead and write James Truslow Adams. And what he said is he thinks the American dream is that dream of a land in which life should be better, richer, and fuller for everyone. Now I'm putting this in quotations because it's his words and I got it from an article. Pause the video right here if you need more time to write that. Okay, welcome back. James Turcell Adams thinks that when we say the American dream, it's this idea that America is a place where life can be better and richer and fuller for everyone. Let's keep reading our article. We'll start here, when it says, but the concept of the American dream. But the concept of the American dream, as Adam defined it, actually existed long before him. In 1630, that's almost 400 years ago, John Winthrop gave his City on a Hill sermon to follow the Puritan colonists as they sailed to Massachusetts in 1630. Although Winthrop never used the word dream, he eloquently detailed his vision of a society in which everyone would have a chance to prosper so long as they all worked together and followed biblical teachings. Gradually, that dream of opportunity evolved in colonists' minds into the God-given right. In the Declaration of Independence in 1776, we're going to talk about that in history very soon. Oh, actually, we're going to stop there. So, gradually, the dream of opportunity evolved in the colonist's mind into a God-given right. So, what do you think is important in what I just read? When John Winthrop Adams said that America should be a society in which everyone has a chance to prosper if they follow biblical teachings and work together, why do you think that's important? Give you a second to think about that. I think it's probably important because it's giving us his idea of what America is supposed to be, a place where people work together and a place where people have equal opportunities. Okay, or at least an equal chance to prosper, which means to do well. So let's add that. Here we have John Winthrop. He's who said it. And he thinks the American dream is, again, we're taking this from the text, so it's in quotation, a society in, let's try this, which everyone would have a chance. I'm struggling today. There we go. To prosper. Remember, prosper means just to do well. To be able to not only survive, but be able to enjoy life, to prosper. Pause the video right here if you need more time to write these things down. Okay, welcome back. Next, we're going to be learning what Thomas Jefferson thinks about the American dream over 140 years later. We're going to start right here in the Declaration of Independence. In the Declaration of Independence in 1776, Thomas Jefferson asserted that everyone in America, at least those who weren't enslaved by the colonists, so that's a big problem with the American dream that never worked out. We had slavery, was entitled to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Okay, so I want you to think, when Thomas Jefferson says that everyone in America should be able to have their life, liberty or freedom, and happiness, why do you think that's important? And we're going to add this to our chart. Okay, Thomas Jefferson thinks that America should be a place where everyone in America is entitled to, and then this is straight from the text, life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. If you agree with Jefferson, do you think everyone should be able to have life, freedom, and happiness in America? That's not true in all countries. Okay, I want to think of a real life example. Right now in Afghanistan, like we talked about in school, we have women and children who are not getting a chance to, for some of them, pursue life. They have very little freedom and they're not being able to pursue their happiness. So this, although they seem very basic, is something that is making America unique. Okay, we have two more. You guys are doing a great job. Make sure to pause the video anytime you don't have enough time to write. And we're going to start reading on this second page. Okay, right here. As America evolved and grew throughout the 19th century, so did the notion that America was different from other countries. It was a land of unparalleled opportunity, where anything could be achieved if a person dared to dream big enough. Alexis de Tocqueville, a Frenchman who visited the new nation in the 1830s, called this belief the charm of anticipated success. What do you guys think that means? The charm of anticipated success. Take a minute to think about it. When the article said that Alexis de Tocqueville thinks that, or calls this idea, okay, this belief that we've been talking about, the charm of anticipated success, I think that's important because people anticipated success. It means that they're thinking that they're going to be successful in the future. And that motivates people to work hard. And so that's his idea of the American dream. And we're going to add it to our chart on this side, right? Alexis de Tocqueville. Pause the video so you can get that all down. And on this side, we're going to say, kind of like I said, that if you think you can succeed, you can. You can dream it, you can do it, that kind of thing. Now you can think for yourself whether or not you think that's always true. Okay, pause it if you need more time to write and go back to the article. We have a little bit more to read. Okay. We're going to start right here. Let's see what Henry David Thoreau thinks about the American dream. American transcendentalist philosopher, oh my goodness, big words, philosopher Henry David Thoreau, in his 1854 book, Walden, I read this book this summer. When you're older, it would be an interesting book to look at, articulated it this way. If one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams, the endeavors to live the life that he has imagined, he will meet success unexpected in the common hours. So there we have again this idea of success that goes along with the American dream. A lot of people are believing, if they're believing this American dream, that if you work hard enough, then you will have success because you live in America. Last paragraph. The words American dream gradually began to appear in newspaper articles and books from the mid to late 1800s. often in reference to the hardy pioneers who headed westward, think Loring was Wilder, to seek fortune, or the European immigrants who arrived in the US ports in search of better jobs and homes. By the early 20th century, it was a euphemism for upward economic mobility, or the prototypical American rags to riches dream. So upward economic mobility, that means you can start poor, but you can get richer. Okay, so that's the last thing that we're going to add to our article. Close here. So he thinks that the American dream means that even if you start poor, if you work hard, you can get richer. So those are a lot of the parts. Oh, pause it if you need to keep writing. So those are a lot of the ideas that go into the American dream. And we are going to start looking for these ideas in the Westing game when we read it tomorrow. Now, just because these ideas are written on paper doesn't mean that they're always true. And I want you to start thinking about that a little bit. As a sixth grader, we need to be called what is a critical reader. You need to be reading things and not just assuming they're true because they're written on a page, but thinking about if they're true. So I want you to start on this last one. Even if you start poor, if you work hard, you can get richer. I want you to put a star by that if you think it's true. I want you to put an X by that if you think it's not true. And it's okay, you can have your own opinion, but be ready in our Zoom meeting this afternoon to defend your answer if you think it's true or if you think it's not true. Okay, that is all I have for you today for reading sixth grade. Tomorrow, you will be able to dive into the Westing game. So you can be excited. We're going to start chapters 1 and chapters 2. I'm going to scroll down and see what you're going to do next. Today is Wednesday. You just watched your recorded reading lesson. You just completed your assignment if you've written down all of the things on Google Classroom. So you get to have lunch. And if it's not 11:30 yet, you get to have lunch a little bit early, and that is okay. Thanks for watching sixth grade. I'll see you in a bit.